Try this today. Ask a chatbot the exact same question twice, word for word. Most of the time, you'll get two different answers. Same question, different reply. That's not a glitch. It's the most important secret about how these things actually write. Because a chatbot never really decides on a word. It rolls dice, cleverly loaded dice, but dice all the same. In the next few minutes, you'll see exactly how it picks every single word, and the two little dials that make it boring and safe, or wild and creative. This is Glass Box, where we make the hardest ideas in AI feel obvious. Today's question, when a chatbot writes, how does it actually choose the next word? Last time, we turned words into numbers the model can do math with. Today, the payoff, how those numbers turn back into the one word that lands on your screen. Here's the plan in 5 steps. 1. The model never picks a word, it scores every word. 2. How it rolls the dice. 3. The temperature dial. 4. The top P dial. And 5. We watch it write a whole sentence, one word at a time. Part 1. It doesn't pick a word, it scores every word. Here's the thing that surprises people. When a chatbot is about to write the next word, it doesn't reach into a hat and grab one. It looks at every single word it knows and gives each one a score. So after the prompt, the cat sat on the model might say, mat 70%, floor 12%, roof 3%, banana basically 0. It hands you that whole ranked list, not one answer, but a confidence for every possible answer. That full list of words it knows has a name, the vocabulary. It's just every word and every little word piece the model is allowed to use, fixed in advance. Real example, like the tiles in a giant game of Scrabble. The box only contains so many tiles, and the model can only play words it can spell from that box. Nothing outside the box exists for it. And for each word in that box, the model produces a probability, a number for how likely it thinks that word comes next, right here, given everything you've said so far. If you saw the How Sure video, this is Softmax doing its job. It's the step that turns the model's raw scores into this tidy probability list. Real example, like a weather forecast. 80% chance of rain, 15% cloudy, 5% sun. Add them all up, and they come to 100%, a complete prediction of what's coming. Part 2, the roll of the loaded dice. Now here's the move people get wrong. You might think it just grabs the highest one, mat, 70% done. Sometimes it does, but usually it rolls dice that are weighted by those numbers. Picture a spinning wheel where each word gets a slice as big as its probability. Mat takes most of the wheel, floor gets a sliver, banana is a hairline. You spin once, and wherever it stops, that's your next word. That's why the same prompt can land on a different word twice. And this is the whole reason a chatbot feels alive instead of robotic. If it always grabbed the single top word, it would repeat itself and sound stiff. The little gamble is what lets it surprise you and surprise itself. Picking a word at random, but weighted by its probability, has a name, sampling. The bigger a word's slice, the more likely it gets chosen, but smaller slices still get a turn now and then. Real example, like a raffle. The person who bought 70 tickets will probably win, but the person with 3 tickets can still get lucky. Every ticket is in the drum. Part 3, temperature, the risk dial. Now the first of 2 dials. We can change how dramatic that wheel is before we ever spin it, make the big slices even bigger and the small ones vanish, or even things out so the underdogs get a real shot. At very low temperature, the cat sat on the almost always becomes mat, safe, boring, repeatable. Crank the temperature up, and suddenly roof and windowsill come alive, and once in a while it'll cheerfully tell you the cat sat on the moon. So one honest caveat, higher isn't better, it's riskier. Push it too far, and the underdog slices grow so much that the model starts babbling nonsense. Temperature isn't a smart dial, it just decides how much of a gambler the model is. That dial is called temperature. Low temperature sharpens the wheel, the likely word takes over almost everything, so the model plays it safe and predictable. High temperature flattens the wheel, the long shots swell up, so the model gets loose, surprising, and sometimes a little unhinged. Real example, like a creativity knob. Turn it down for a careful, factual answer. Turn it up for a wild brainstorm. Part 4, Top P, ban the silly words first. Here's the problem temperature leaves behind. The wheel still has thousands of tiny slices on it. Every absurd word, every typo, every word that makes no sense here. We'd love to throw those out before we ever spin. That's the second dial. So with Top P at 90%, the model keeps mat, floor, maybe roof, the words that together cover 90% of its confidence. Banana, moon, the twice in a row, all the silly tail just gets quietly banned before the dice even roll. It's called Top P. The idea is simple. Line the words up from most likely to least, start adding their slices together, and stop the moment the pile reaches your chosen amount, say 90%. Keep only that winning group, toss every word below the line, then spin among the survivors. Real example, like packing for a trip with one carry-on. You stack your most needed items until the bag is full, then everything left on the bed stays home. And that's the beauty of it. Top P adapts. When the model is sure, the bag fills with 1 or 2 words and it stays on topic. When it's genuinely unsure, the bag opens wider and lets more options in. Temperature sets the mood, Top P sets the guest list. Part 5, watch it write a sentence. Let's put it all together and write one word at a time. You type, the best part of summer is. The model scores the whole vocabulary, Top P trims it to a handful of good words, and it spins. Out comes the. Now the magic step. It adds the to your sentence and feeds the whole thing back in as if you'd typed it. The best part of summer is the. Fresh scores, fresh trim, fresh spin, out comes long. And again, the best part of summer is the long, becomes long evenings. Score, trim, spin, attach. Score, trim, spin, attach. One word feeds the next, like a snowball rolling downhill, picking up a sentence as it goes. It keeps looping until it rolls a special, I'm done signal and stops. Every word you ever read from a chatbot was built exactly this way. A probability list, a trimmed wheel, a single weighted spin. Repeated, hundreds of times, faster than you can blink. So here's the whole picture. The model never picks a word. It scores the entire vocabulary with a probability. Then it samples a weighted spin of a wheel, not a grab for the top. Temperature decides how big a gambler it is, safe and sharp, or wild and flat. Top P quietly throws out the silly words before the spin, and the whole thing loops, one word feeding the next, until the sentence is done. That's how a chatbot picks every word. But doing all that scoring, for every word, hundreds of times per answer, that sounds painfully slow. So how does a chatbot fire back a paragraph in seconds without redoing all its homework every single word? There's a clever shortcut, and it's the very next video, the memory trick that makes ChatGPT fast. If this finally made the dice roll make sense, subscribe so you don't miss it. This was Glass Box. See you in the next one.